Hey all, today we are talking about boobies, everyone's favorite thing. Men, women, even children.
And everyone in between.
And everyone in between. So this obviously goes for anyone who would like to have breast implants. Um, and we both had them done, and but they're different. So we'll talk about the differences. Tell you what I did with mine, nipples, and all sorts of good stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so let's get into it. So, um, I got I was on HRT for just under a year when I got my breasts done. I can still flex them. She can flex them even better, but show them. Okay. And so I had them done with under a year of HRT, which is not the suggested. They say at least wait a year because you're going to get natural development. But I'm a bull in a china shop, and so I decided I knew best and that I was going to get it done. So I did, and I got them done June of 2020. So we are now about 4.5 years, I guess, of boobs. So that's that. I got silicone, and I got round, which is the shape of the implant. You can get round or you can get teardrop. There's a couple of other ones, I believe, as well. I got high profile.
Oh, you got full high profile.
I got high profile, yeah. So there's
That's
high,
where you-
mid, and
that's
low. I made a
That's
bunch.
where you went
I
wrong.
made a bunch of mistakes. Let's be honest. But probably my biggest mistake that I made was that I got 700 cc's in each boob. So I remember going in thinking I was going to get 400, and that didn't look good on me because I'm 6'2", and 400 at the time didn't look right. So I was like, I took my sister with me, and I asked my sister for her opinion on my boobs, which is
That's
a thing.
cute.
Anyways, and so you go in with a bra, and then they give you these big silicone like falsies, and you put them in, and you kind of see what it feels like and stuff. So I tried 400, which was way too small. Then went to 6, which was too small. And then I went 650 and 700. And I couldn't tell the difference between 650 and 700. And my sister was like, well, go big or go home.
Oh, she said that?
Yeah, I think so. I was like, okay, well, that's definitely my personality.
Yeah.
And so I went with the 700s, which was perfect when I woke up from surgery. But in the last 4 years, I've got some more development of my breast tissue. So now my boobs are a little bit bigger than I might have liked, but I'm pretty sure she still likes them, so it's okay. I will say, so because I had a very small chest pre-transition, it was still muscled and stuff like that. I got my surgeon suggested I get it over the muscle. So I have a small incision. It's honestly about an inch.
And you went in under the boob.
And they went in under the boob, and but it was on top of the muscle. So that little scar, which now, because the breast actually has dropped and has fallen, so it's totally covered, you don't even see it. And so that's great. You can't see anything. And the recovery from that surgery was very, very, very easy. I remember waking up going like, whoa, that was amazing. And then like 48 hours later, I was like, felt brand new, except I was with boobs. So I was like ecstatic. That was also the day that I was forced to socially transition for obvious reasons, because now I had big boobs and there was no way of pretending that I could go stealth as a boy anymore. So, which was great because it actually pushed me out the door. And although I didn't go kicking and screaming, it definitely propelled me in ways that I probably hadn't anticipated before breast surgery, even though I probably should have anticipated. So that's my story. And then maybe Madison, you can tell yours, because I know yours is pretty significantly different because you started as a cis female, so you already had some different things going on.
I did. So I got mine when I was 25, and I was a fitness competitor at the time. So when I did my consult and when I got my surgery, I was like within weeks of a show. Like I'd just done a fitness competition. So I was really, when I did the consult, I was really lean before the show, like 2 months before. And then I got the surgery like 2 weeks after a competition. So no body fat whatsoever. I still had some breast tissue, but like not a whole lot. And when I did my consult, I went in by myself and I tried like a 350. I'm much smaller than Victoria, so a 700 actually wouldn't have even fit in my body. I tried a 350, 450, and that was the biggest I tried. And I thought that the 450 looked pretty big. But I wanted it because I had heard a couple of other friends who had done implants who said that they ended up not going with the bigger option, and they were disappointed because then their boobs actually didn't look that big to them. So that was a note that I took, and I went with 450, and my surgeon recommended going under the muscle. I don't actually remember why.
Your tips look amazing, so obviously it was the right call.
It was the right choice. And also under the boob incision, you have 3 options. The armpit, which is actually pretty rare now. They don't do it as much. Through the nipple and under the boob. And the surgeon recommended under the boob because it's the smallest scar and it's the quickest point of access other than the nipple. I think people have to go through the nipple for other reasons. Yeah. But then you end up with a bit more of a scar. They call it a lollipop scar because it goes around the nipple and down.
Yeah.
Typically, if you have to have a revision, that's where they go. So I went into the surgery. I didn't really know what the recovery would be like, but I knew that this was what I wanted for so long. And I woke up and it was fucking hell. I had so much pain. They only gave me Tylenol 3s as a painkiller. I had to have my mom shower me and wipe my bum for a week. It was so bad because they went under the muscle.
You couldn't lift your arms?
I couldn't lift my arms. I couldn't imagine laying in bed and your chest had just been cut into and trying to sit up. Couldn't sit up, couldn't move. It was horrible. I would do it 100 times over the exact same way, but I wasn't prepared for that. However, I am incredibly thrilled with the result. I actually had, I think, 5 different friends go to the same surgeon because they saw mine and they're like, oh my gosh, this is where I'm going. No questions asked. And yeah, it was amazing.
So you still have, I know like this area is still very tender. Like are you, like if I touch that area, you're kind of like,
it's a little
like electrical pins and needles and stuff, which is interesting.
For a long time, I had a lot of numbness, and if I were to touch, I still get a tiny bit of electric feeling if I touch between them. But for a long time, I couldn't even touch that area because it would be like zapping through my body. But that healed. It's been 9 years since I got them done. So over time, it took years and years and years, though. I'd say the nipple sensitivity is pretty low now. I think that's really the only complaint. Not that it's a complaint; it is fine.
In terms of, I get a lot of people asking me, like, once you got your boobs done, how was working out? How was running? How was all that stuff? Honestly, a good sports bra, I've had absolutely no problems.
Yeah.
It was actually very, very easy, even with boobs. Like my boobs I wear like a 36 double D bra. What size do you wear?
34 double D.
34 double D. So yeah, like, I mean, we're pretty similar in a lot of ways. Like, I mean, my boobs are big, but I'm much bigger than she is. So it kind of makes sense. Now let's talk about nipples.
Let me just pause for 1 sec. So one thing to actually realize is you can't go in and just say, I want 450 because I want them to look like hers, or I want 700 because I want them to look like hers. It won't look the same on anyone. I know people with 300 cc's who have bigger boobs than me.
Yeah.
Because of your chest cavity, the way it sits, the surgeon, there's so many factors. So don't go in thinking that this is what you want. You need to start where the surgeon recommends and then go up and down from there, because there is a million different factors that will change the outcome. Don't just go based on what you saw online.
100%.
Yeah.
And so going back on that, we're talking about a 3D moving object, right? Like how wide you are here, where you want the boobs to sit. Like I've seen some people, their boobs sit out very, very wide. And so they have a huge space between their breasts. And for example, like for me, I asked specifically so that my nipples were quite out to the side, and they still are quite out to the side. I mean, they're definitely not in the middle. They're not head beaming. They're more like,
They're a bit lost.
they're like out here somewhere. And, I mean, it is what it is. Like I didn't want to deal with the issue of moving the nipple, because then you have to deal with the scar of moving the nipple. So I could have moved the nipple towards the middle. That would have increased the price. It would have increased the pain. It would have changed the way the breast looked significantly, because now there's scars as well as everything else. So all of these things are really to be considered on an individual basis. That's why it's really a good idea to shop around, go to a good surgeon, all of that stuff. Like the way I got my breast done, I asked the surgeon specifically to try to bring the nipples as close to the center point as possible. Like her nipples are perfect, and she's lucky, but that's not everybody's situation. You know, like mine are as good as they're going to be without me having to have a surgery that's going to have more negatives than I think that they're worth. So that being said, her nipples are a little bit less sensitive. Mine are very sensitive. And unfortunately, some of that sensitivity is good and some of that sensitivity is bad. Like I don't like...
You can't be braless.
I can't be braless forever.
Like I never wear a bra.
Yeah, like she's totally cool and it doesn't bother her. Like she can sleep like that. If my nipples were open and I turn and I'm gonna like wake up like this, it's not gonna be a good one. So all that being said, for everybody, it's a big deal. And if you're a trans femme and you're considering getting your breasts done, go to a good surgeon, shop around, get a few consultations under your belt so you can really get an assessment that's best for you and best for your body and also best for the kind of thing that you want. Remember, HRT does develop breast tissue. The best way to tell what you're going to get is if your mom or sister or aunt has big boobs, the chances are you're probably going to get them as well. If they are all flat-chested, you're probably not going to get that development. So it might happen, it might not happen, but that's kind of like where you go. Take a look at your mom. Don't do that. Anyways, so with that being said, that's our little talk on boobies. She has the best boobies in the universe. So anyways, with that, bye everybody.